Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 7 of the 814 Sports Report. Alongside Logan Lepiscopo, I'm Chris Sohl. And Logan, look what we got behind us.
We got a special today.
Oh, yes, we do. And if you didn't know, the NFL Draft is coming up next Thursday in Pittsburgh. We're going to be all over the place, Logan. You have a nice little inside view of the Cleveland headquarters.
Yeah, it should be nice. I was there last year when they made the bold move to trade out of drafting Travis Hunter. So we'll see this year with 2 draft picks what type of drama they might stir up. And then, of course, you'll be in the city at the draft site with Mike and Phil.
Yeah, hopefully talking to some fans, maybe doing a special piece on potentially some sports betting stuff, who people are seeing, what's going to happen. A lot of action there. Our John Laddick will be at the Steelers headquarters. So we'll have everything covered for you on NFL Draft coming up this Thursday. But, Logan, we've done plenty of these. We've talked about the defensive prospects. We've talked about the offensive prospects. So in about half an hour, let's see how many picks we can get done in the first round of our mock draft. I'll give you the first pick honors. Your Las Vegas Raiders, dun, 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 with the first pick of the 2026 NFL Draft.
Let's just save all the talk. Let's just get it out the way. Raiders could turn in the card today and be content with what they're picking at number 1, unless something crazy comes about where someone just offers a trade package they absolutely can't refuse. I think this is the slam dunk pick. Chris, Jets up at number 2.
Jets up at number. See, this is where things get interesting, right? I think the draft, everybody kind of understands, starts at the second pick, barring anything crazy. Let's click on Arvell Reese right here. I think this is, I wouldn't call this a chalk pick, but I think a lot of experts are saying Arvell Reese is the guy. A little bit undersized, maybe a little bit raw compared to some of the other pure pass rushers, but pure talent and the skill he has, a raw prospect with freak athleticism. I think the Jets go for best player available, bolster up that defense, especially after trading away a lot of key guys on that defense, getting more first-round picks. I think they take best player available here.
All right, number 3, Arizona Cardinals. We got news that Arizona Cardinals running back James Conner, Erie native, will be calling a couple of the Cardinals picks in the draft, so I'm sure that'll be a cool story for him. Number 3 for Arizona, they're in a tough spot. I've seen a lot of people go Jeremiah Love, but James Conner, I can't just kick him to the curb like that. I feel kind of wrong doing so. I think they still have a lot of work on the offensive line. They drafted Paris Johnson Jr. a couple years ago, left tackle. Why not add a right tackle for whoever may be the quarterback of the future? There's not one here right now. We're going to go with Francis Maui.
Wow, so you got him going early here.
We're going to pull him early here. Like I said, I just feel like whatever quarterback is to come in, obviously Jacoby Brissett, expected to be the starter this year for the Cardinals. Whoever comes in next for your franchise quarterback, you need a couple franchise tackles. Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. Hopefully gives them more time to get open and do something with it. Titans at 4. I'm also going to give you the Giants at 5. We'll swap.
Oh, yes.
After the Giants at 5, I'll take the evens. You'll take the odds. So go ahead and hit us with some back-to-back picks here. You get the luxury of setting up who you want your Giants to take.
I do, and I hope it goes this way because I don't want the Giants to draft the player that the Titans are going to draft, and that's Jeremiah Love, okay? I think, the Titans did so much in free agency. They brought in a lot of talent on both sides of the ball. Again, I think for this draft in particular, Logan, we don't have that many blue-chip guys, true number 1 guys at their position. Jeremiah Love is one of those guys, right? He's getting compared to guys like Saquon Barkley, who went this high in the draft. A lot of concerns with first-round running backs, but Jeremiah Love, we talked about in the last episode, his ability to catch passes out of the backfield. He's a pure runner, can get through the tackles, can really do a little bit of everything. I think he's the guy here for the Titans. Him and Cam Ward, that is, a little brain fart there, are just...
He's thinking it's Cam Scad.
Yeah.
Got caught up.
I got CTE apparently too. But I think that would make for an exciting offense, right? You bring in Wan'Dale Robinson on the outside, and maybe the Titans could be cooking with gas. All right, my New York Giants. I've sat in my apartment trying to figure it out because so many different ways they could go.
Edge rusher, right?
As long as they don't take an edge rusher, I think we'll be all right here. The guy that I want them to take versus the guy I think they'll take is interesting. Okay. But click on Caleb Downs for me, Logan. Right. I think the Giants are going to pick a guy that John Harbaugh wants to work with. We've talked about it before, what he's been able to do with guys like Ed Reed on that defense, Kyle Hamilton at the safety position. Caleb Downs, people were disappointed with his combine results. I think the NFL combine's a little overrated, right? Sometimes your true athleticism, your straight line speed doesn't always apply. Yep. But Caleb Downs, one of the highest football IQ guys in this draft, and maybe the other blue chip guy next to Jeremiah Love. The Giants get a true playmaker who I think they can line up all over the field, and a guy that just knows how to play football. All right, the Cleveland Browns.
First region team pick.
Our first region team here. The Browns completely revamped their offensive line through free agency. Logan, offense or defense here? What do you got cooking?
I think they're pretty well set defensively. I'd say my only player I would consider is Mansour Delane. I feel like the cornerback position, pair him up with Denzel Ward. I mean, doesn't get much better than probably those two together. But I'm going to go offense here. We're not doing any trades. I would say this could be a situation with Maui Noah off the board. Cleveland potentially moves down. No trades. We're just going straight 32 picks for you all. I'm going to go with Carnell Tate. They got to upgrade the receiver at some point. I think taking a tackle now would be a reach. If you're looking at, Spencer Fano, Monroe, Freeling, I feel like you could probably still get a tackle when you're picking at 24. So why not take arguably the best receiver in the draft? And now you've got Washington up at 7. They're probably a little upset with the way the board has fallen so far, but what do they do here?
It's interesting because I actually like some of Washington's pass rush. I think they have some disruptive guys, especially in the middle of their pass rush, but an aging defense. And again, you kind of have this cluster of really talented guys. Yep. I'm taking the guy most talented here. I think Washington's very happy landing Sonny Styles at the number 7 overall pick. Right. Very similar to Caleb Downs, a guy who is a freak athlete and just a really talented football player. Can be versatile for a Washington defense, Logan, that's really old and really struggled last year.
Yeah, I think another defense old and struggled last year is the New Orleans Saints. And their mouth is watering at the way the board has fallen with Bain, Bailey, and Delane all still there. You definitely could go edge rusher. Bailey is, I'd say, arguably the best pass rusher in the draft. Running support, that's a different conversation. But Mansour Delane is intriguing to me. You keep him in state, and I think cornerback is definitely an option for them. But pass rush in the NFC South, you have some quarterbacks that aren't really like the quickest decision makers. Bryce Young, Tyler Shuck's still a lot to prove. Baker's a menace in the NFC South. And then you got Penix and maybe Tua in Atlanta. So you save your quarterback in Tyler Shuck from having to face one of these guys. We're going to go with David Bailey for this pick.
I like that pick. Kansas City Chiefs here. Interesting stuff here. You just mentioned it. Right, we're looking at a lot of defensive guys here. Yep. They make the big trade, sending Trent McDuffie over to the Rams, and why not replace him with Mansour Delane? Okay. I got the Chiefs taking Mansour Delane.
There we go.
You get a first-round pick plus for Trent McDuffie, and now you get the kid out of LSU, who we talked about last episode, maybe the best man-to-man press coverage corner, a freak athlete, first-team All-SEC, first-team All-American last year. He's a baller. You lose McDuffie, replace him with Delane.
Might as well. And then we got the Bengals up here at 10. I think this is a pretty easy selection, I would say. You lost Trey Hendrickson in free agency. You need someone to help get after the quarterback. Ruben Bain's falling in your lap at 10. I think he's going to be the selection. You could go an offensive lineman here, but I think in the NFL you need a quarterback, someone to protect the quarterback, someone to get after the quarterback. They're missing someone to get after the quarterback. We're going to go with Ruben Bain at 10, and you got Miami at 11.
Yeah, here are the needs, Logan. I'm seeing wide receiver, guard, and DB. I'm thinking the Dolphins need just about a little bit of everything. Yeah. I think maybe
I can scroll down a little bit if you're not liking some of the names up here.
Well, we can go back up. Right. I like some of the names up here.
Right, let's go back up.
I think, listen, you just signed Malik Willis to a big ticket, right? And what does every quarterback coming into a weaker team need? He needs some protection, right? Yes,
he does.
You saw we reached here a little bit earlier. You're taking an offensive lineman earlier. I think this is where Spencer Fano lands here with Miami. I think you bolster the outside of the offensive line. You give Malik Willis a little bit of protection, and hopefully, you can get Jalen Waddle going down the field. But Dolphins taking Spencer Final. Cowboys now.
Very interesting situation for them. They probably wish they were in our world of trading, where they could have went up for a Sonny Styles at linebacker. Defensive tackle way too early. This draft class for interior D lineman is not the greatest. You're better off waiting until the second round. Cornerback, I think, is very intriguing. They need the help, of course. And if he played last year, I think there's a strong case for Jermod McCoy to have been the top corner in this year's draft. We're going to make him the second corner off the board here to Dallas. He tested incredibly well in the combine, or not the combine, his pro day. Tested incredibly well, showed the signs of his play speed that he had in 2024. It's a no-brainer for Dallas. I think their offense is pretty set. In the Rams, a lot of people have been picking Mekhi Lemon there. Is that where we're going, Chris?
You kind of spoiled it a little bit, but what do the Rams do? They draft wide receivers well.
There we go.
You have Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams and whatnot. We've seen what Matthew Stafford's been able to do. If this is his last go-around and he calls it a career after this year, why not get him? Probably the second most talented wide receiver.
Maybe the most.
We've seen Jordan Tyson hype, right? He's a little bit down there, but I like Mekhi Lemon. I think he can do a little bit of everything. Let's make that Rams offense completely unstoppable and go Mekhi Lemon.
That's going to be a dangerous offense for sure. Now we have the Baltimore Ravens every single year, Chris. Wide receiver.
It's always there. Rashad Bateman's not getting it done for
always
Mr. Lamar
the top
Jackson.
of the list. You got Bateman, you got Flowers, you tried DeAndre Hopkins. That experiment didn't work. This is a tough spot if I'm Baltimore. I think Jordan Tyson is definitely now like screaming at you, take him. But in free agency, they lost a ton of offensive linemen. Interior, I see there is one of the bigger needs. I don't know if Ione can play center, but we're going to draft him, Penn State guard, ship him off to Baltimore. Derrick Henry needs someone to block for him. Lamar needs someone to protect him. And I think you're just content with the weapons you have if you can get the best guard in the draft.
Yeah, and you were just talking about Baker Mayfield and what he's been able to do. Now, the Buccaneers' weapons last year depleted. Obviously, they lose Mike Evans to the San Francisco 49ers. And, Logan, we're talking about blue-chip prospects, talking about guys who are the clear number ones of their position. I think Kenyon Sadiq is pretty clearly the number one tight end in this class. A great athlete. You put him next to Cade Otton there. Talk about that red zone threat. Maybe you get Chris Godwin back healthy. You're cooking on offense. I think the first tight end goes off the board here to Tampa Bay, and that offense is looking pretty scary, especially in the red zone.
All right, we've got the Jets up now, about halfway through here. We got Arvell Reese at number 2 for them, so we're probably looking to get some support on the offense. I think their offensive line is very underrated. I think Geno Smith's, as much as it pains me to say it, I think he's actually going to have some success there. In East Rutherford, he's on the board. It's an injury risk with Jordan Tyson, but there's been talks of arguably him being the best wide receiver in the draft. Why not pair him up with Garrett Wilson, one of the best in the league? Pair him, get Geno Smith some help.
Give your boy Geno Smith.
Whoever else may be quarterback there, get them a target that they can count on, assuming he's able to stay on the field.
Yeah, now we're up to the Detroit Lions. Interesting stuff here, right? Do you go offense? Do you go defense? A pretty good roster, a disappointing year last year. I'm looking again, and we're looking at best player available. We have some talented edge rushers, right? Obviously, Dylan Tyneman out of Oregon, but I'm actually going to go Akeem Mesidor here for the Detroit Lions. I think you pair
him up with Hutch.
Him and Hutch on the outsides, I think, would be absolutely lethal on this defensive line. Another guy that we talked about could potentially be higher in this loaded edge class. You take best player available. You hope it works out. In the first round, Logan, I feel like just betting on talent is always the best way to evaluate your guys.
Yeah, I was watching or looking at something earlier, and they posed the question, why are we pushing the talented players down the board just because the position they play? Like, there's a very good chance Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs are like top 3 player in the draft. Jeremiah Love's arguably, the best talent in the draft. we're pushing them down when they could be higher up. Obviously, Love, Downs, they go where they're expected to. But I do find that very interesting. Why not just bank on the guy you know is good at football?
Even if you have that position already, you never know you could have. If you draft a guy strictly for positional value and it doesn't work out, then you have a hole and you don't have talent.
Yep.
So it's a lose-lose there.
So we got the Vikings here. I think this is a pretty easy pick. Harrison Smith's not getting any younger. Why not get a new safety to take his place? Dylan Thieneman out of Oregon. He flew up draft boards, tested incredibly well. The Vikings defense is kind of what carried them to be where they even were last year despite the poor quarterback play. Why not give a new toy for Brian Flores to play with? And now the Panthers, a shocking season last year. How did they improve?
Somebody said it. I don't know if it was somebody within the Panthers organization, but they've now drafted a wide receiver. Is it 3 years in a row in the first round or 2 years in a row with
Maybe
their first
2 in a row?
Two or three. So I think we're going to extend that streak here. Give me Omar Cooper to pair with Tet McMillan. Maybe a little bit of a reach there, but I think the Panthers' number one focus has to continue to be to develop Bryce Young. We saw what he was able to do towards the end of the year, especially in the playoffs against the Rams. Pretty solid game from him, throwing for 300-plus yards towards the end of the season. You give him another wide receiver. You hope that Tet takes a step, and this Panthers team could be cooking with gas.
Yeah, don't hate it. Get Bryce Young another weapon. If you think he's going to be your franchise guy, might as well get a receiver that if you give Bryce Young an extension can be there along with him. So we got Dallas back on the clock. Just a reminder, I'll scroll on up here. Took Jermod McCoy, addressed that cornerback need. I mentioned linebacker earlier, could potentially be a pick. CJ Allen's here. You can see here ADP, average draft position. That's where, most people on Pro Football Focus are putting this guy. I'm going to go with CJ Allen. I think he's the best linebacker in the draft. Georgia players, they usually pan out pretty well, transitioning from their SEC talent to the NFL. So Dallas just go defense heavy. You got CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Dak.
You always score. Every year you're scoring.
Yeah, you're going to score 30, 40 points a game. Let's try and get a defense that can stop opponents from scoring 40, 50 points and you losing some tight ones. And Chris,
Pittsburgh Steelers. Do they reach on Ty Simpson here? That's the question. Interesting stuff here. So the Steelers could go a lot of different ways. We've mentioned they did get some important names in free agency here.
They did.
Right? We see the need here as a tackle, and we have a couple big guys left. I think you play it safe. Give me Monroe Freeling here.
Right.
I think the Steelers play it safe. Logan, investing in your offensive line is never a bad decision.
Never.
Winning in the trenches is how you win football games. And unless the Steelers are really, really confident in Ty Simpson, maybe Aaron Rodgers pulls the plug last minute and they panic.
Yep.
I think this is probably the safest pick here. You're betting on talent. You're filling a position of need. Chargers on the clock.
Well, I think the Chargers are pretty mad at you right now for taking the offensive lineman. We know they needed help. If you saw any Chargers game or any NFL memes, you saw the rankings of all of their offensive linemen. They were some of the worst last year. Obviously,
very injured as well.
Yes, very injured. Hopefully all back fully healthy. And that's the case. I don't think you even take a first-round pick. I see safety as a need on here. Being a Raiders fan, I feel like I should just do the Chargers dirty.
Why don't you
and
scroll
pick someone
down?
all the way at the bottom? Yeah, let's get them Ty Simpson, Now, looking at the Chargers, a lot of people have wide receiver as a need, which is intriguing to me because you have Ladd McConkey. Quentin Johnson actually showed some life last year.
Didn't drop every other pass.
Yeah, and they spent a decent pick on Trey Harris last year, wide receiver out of Ole Miss. So I don't know if that's the way they go. I'm going to kind of scroll up and down here a little bit and think about this one.
Yeah, we're getting into thinking territory here.
Yeah, I would say Keldrick Folk could be an option, but Khalil Mack came back. The cornerback position, I mean, you can never go wrong with trying to lock up a receiver in the West. Not that there's really a ton of talent other than Denver with Sutton and Waddle. I know I said I wasn't going to go offensive lineman, but I think I'm going to go Blake Miller here. Guard is probably more of where the Chargers are looking to help the offensive line. Maybe he can kick in. Maybe they have someone else that has guard experience. But like you said earlier, can never go wrong with some offensive line help. And now you got the Birds up here at 23.
Shout out Joe Lenuski. He thinks the Philadelphia Eagles are the best thing since sliced bread. But I think we're going to stick with the offensive line trend. I think we're going to select Caden Proctor here, a guy that I've kind of been seeing fly up draft boards.
Oh, I made the wrong pick. Hold on. There's an undo button. All right, there we go.
There we go.
No,
yeah.
we're all,
give me Caden.
Let me make sure. All right, we got this.
There it is. I hope you're happy, Joe. Lane Johnson getting a little bit older. I think his play maybe slipping a little bit, right? We saw Saquon Barkley kind of take a step back. I think, again, invest in the offensive line. You win the battle of the trenches. You win football games. You have an all-pro caliber running back in the backfield. A line that has been so good for so long is finally taking a step back. Caden Proctor's a guy that I'm pretty high on, and I think he falls here to Philadelphia, and they're pretty happy here.
Yeah, and Cleveland's pretty upset. Went with a Carnell Tate. You were hoping a tackle was going to fall to you here, but I see no reason to panic. You have Avion Terrell right here, brother of A.J. Terrell, who had standout season or two in Atlanta. Hasn't been the same all-pro corner in recent years, but why not pair him up with Denzel Ward? They lost a couple corners last year. Greg Newsome they shipped off to Jacksonville, so why not get Terrell to help up there defensively and try to hold opponents to even less than you did last year?
Chicago Bears, another team that had a great season last year. Caleb Williams taking a step, but they traded their number one receiver to the Buffalo Bills. DJ Moore is no longer there. And a guy that you were watching a lot of tape on, Denzel Boston.
All right.
Maybe another reach here, but I think, again, kind of similarly to the Carolina Panthers, investing in your young quarterback, getting him as much help as you can. I like their offensive line. I like their defense, forcing the most takeaways last year. They're going in the right direction. I think with a late first-round pick here, you take a bit of a chance on a guy who's really talented, got that jump ball ability, he's got some great hands, throw him on the outside. And he's boys with Rome Odunze. They both went to Washington. So there it is. You get, I don't know if they play together off the top of my head, but potential college teammates on the outside, helping Caleb Williams and this Bears offense get back to the playoffs.
I got a lot of pressure on this one, Chris. Buffalo Bills. See, I know the fan base, they want a receiver. And I know the receiver they want is still on the board. KC Concepcion.
He says he's the best receiver in the class, so why not?
He does say that. He did not stutter either. That's what he said. That's what his post said. That's not me. I'm in this tough spot because my heart wants to go with Caden McDonald or Keldrick Folk. And I know I'm going to hear, why would we go Keldrick Folk? We just got Bradley Chubb. We don't need edge rusher. I just don't think you could go wrong in the defensive line when you had one of the worst run defenses in the NFL last season. I'm going to pass on KC Concepcion here. I'm going to go with the first defensive tackle and go with Caden McDonald. He's just switching from a 4-3 to a 3-4. I think he's going to be able to be that nose tackle. And him next to Ed Oliver, when you do play 4 down D linemen, good luck running it up the middle. You better hit it outside and hope that no cornerback's able to wrap you up. Now you got the 49ers who have been plagued with injuries over the years.
Plagued with injuries. So much talent and you just know they're a good football team when they lose so many guys and they still win. And they can still win a playoff game. But a guy you've talked about plenty and a guy you just passed on, Keldrick Folk, line him up next to Nick Bosa. Right. That would be absolutely terrifying on that defensive front. I think if the 49ers are healthy, they're going to surprise a lot of people this year, potentially make a deep run, bolster up your defensive front, have a terrifying pass rush. It's been what they've done so well for so many years. Keldrick Folk is a guy that should be flying up draft boards.
Yeah, and even if Bosa goes down, boom, you got someone you can slide in to start for him. So we got the Houston Texans up. Great defense, solid offense. I think here you continue to bolster your offensive line. I mean, C.J. Stroud just has not had any luck with having the proper protection for him. This is probably the last offensive lineman worthy of going in the first round. I'll scroll down here. Maybe Caleb Lomu sneaks into the first round, but I think Max Achenahor is probably the last good offensive lineman here. And they traded a bunch of them away, released a bunch of them, let a bunch of guys walk. So we're going to go with Houston trying to bolster up and protect C.J. Stroud.
I like that play. We saw C.J. Stroud panicking at times towards the end of the year, not having time to throw, and decision-making maybe a little bit of a question mark him. I like that pick, Logan.
We had the Chiefs up. You had them taking Mansour Delane earlier. Where do we have them now?
I think I'm going to apply for the Chiefs general manager job after I knock this mock draft out of the park for them. Well, I think, Logan, you kind of bolster up. You take your A-plus prospect with Mansour Delane. I think you can have a little bit of fun here towards the end of the first round and take a shot on the best receiver in the class.
All right.
A wide receiver corps that has guys either injured or dealing with some legal issues. If you're going to go, the Chiefs are committed to winning. They signed Kenneth Walker. This team wants to win. The offense last year was a little bit shaky at times, not able to score enough points. I think Casey Concepcion could be an exciting piece on the outside to maybe give Patrick Mahomes and the boys one last go at it.
All right, we got Miami up. I was taking a look earlier. We had the Dolphins taking offensive tackle Spencer Fano. So here I think you lean on the defense. You got Colton Hood, who could potentially sneak into the first round. But, man, I think Emmanuel McNeil-Warren is way too talented to continue dropping. I'm going to have it stop here. Javon Holland left. You trade away Minkah Fitzpatrick a time ago. You haven't really had a safety answer. You get your answer right here with the man out of Toledo, and you get to pick our very own John Leidick.
The pressure is on. The pressure is on for me. I decide John Leidick's happiness for the next few months here. Just speaking with John, he tells me the Patriots need just about everything, but maybe outside of quarterback. But interior defensive line, I think it could be a focus for them here, right? I like T.J. Parker, I like Cassius Howell, but I think Caleb Banks out of Florida is a really talented guy, a good run stuffer, somebody that can get to the quarterback. And again, we've said it a couple times now, investing in the trenches is a great play to go. And with just a couple minutes left here, Logan, the Super Bowl champs, how do they close out this first round here?
Seattle Seahawks, I'm just going to make this quick and easy. You lost a few corners to free agency, secondary players. Let's just go with Colton Hood. Cassius Howell could be a great add as well. Short arms are a little concerning for some people. Maybe that's Seattle's type. I don't know, but Colton Hood is going to be the selection there.
That will be the first round of the NFL draft. Thank you guys for tuning in. Drop in the comments if you have any criticisms or did we make the wrong pick anywhere?
Probably.
Let us know down below, and we'll catch you in the next one.